Hi there! Today is Sunday, September 5th, and that makes this the week 35 Return to Creativity update with your hostess, Jennifer Vanderbeek of scrapsoflife.com. Hi there, how are you doing? I am back in my Georgia office. I am back home in Georgia. It always feels weird to say home in Georgia, not just because, I'm relatively still new to Georgia. I mean, we've been here for 7 years now. But more to the point, it feels weird going from Arizona and to Georgia and saying, okay, I'm back home now, because they say home is where your heart is. And one of those things about being polyamorous is that your heart can be in all sorts of places. And this is true actually not just for those who are polyamorous. If you have family spread out and you feel strongly for them, because, not all families are that tight, but, you can feel kind of spread out. But so your heart can be in lots of different places. But it's especially jarring for me when I've just come from Arizona. And so, yeah, I'm back in Georgia. I feel like my home is on opposite ends of the country, because my heart is on opposite ends of the country, opposite sides of the country, and that's just the life I lead. And I would rather, as I've always said, I would rather have him in my life 2,000 miles away than not have him in my life at all. He's where he needs to be. I'm where I need to be. And who knows? I mean, just who knows what happens next? Nobody knows. So anyway, that ramble aside, yeah, so I'm back in Georgia. I'm back on Eastern Daylight Time, at least technically. My sleep schedule, my circadian rhythms, not so much. I have been having, I think my sleep rhythms are still on Arizona time, which doesn't even change time zones, so they're 3 hours off from my current location. And on the one hand, I don't have to adhere to any one specific time zones or schedule, really, other than the one I set for myself. So on the one hand, it's fine. On the other, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out my best schedule. Being in Arizona was amazing. I mean, I know I did updates while I was there, but yeah, being in Arizona was amazing for the fact of how much I got done in such a relatively short period of time. My word counts on some days were like 5,000, 7,500. And that was only, that was like maximum of 4 hours of writing. And so that to me is amazing. And I completely understand. Not that I didn't before, but there's knowing and then there's understanding on a deeper, got it, grokking level. The way, I've heard of some authors who will they'll get a hotel room for a few days or a long weekend or something to knock out the, the last part of their novel or work on it. And yeah, I can totally understand, because when you're at home, there's a different set of environmental distractions, stressors, and those can be good things too. They're not just necessarily bad, but there's just so many different things. Like I could be doing laundry, I could be cleaning the kitchen, the dog's gonna bark, I could, go here, go there. I've got all my stuff around me, so I'm like, ooh, I haven't messed, ooh, maybe, the wild ideas kind of thing. But when I'm away and I had maybe 2 projects that I could have worked on, maybe 3 if I really wanted to. But, I'd said it was for writing, and so I stuck to the writing. And yeah, I completely understand it. And now I'm sort of seeing what one of the short books I read while I was traveling and away and everything was the, I think it was 5,000 words an hour. I forget the author's name. I found him through a writing Facebook group. He's got a lot of smaller, shorter writing help books, and I've actually found them very helpful. And some of the techniques in that book I'm using, the writing sprints, tracking, the words and so forth. But the one thing, I have not done as such is create this nice little distraction-free oasis. And yeah, so I need to spend some time dealing with this space. Now, I'm still me. I still need things out visual where I can see them and not forget they exist. But there's organized chaos, and then there's just chaos, and I think right now entropy is winning, chaos is winning. So yeah, I really do need to spend some time kind of doing that. Plus I do want to be able to start trying to figure out how to do some like art streams on Twitch or something, and I need to kind of finish changing my setup that I talked about and thought about prior to just months ago. I need to go ahead and get that ball rolling more too. So those are the things that are coming up on the horizon. But anyway, I finished the content edits of the first book, Fool's Paradise, while I was out in Arizona, and then since coming home, I have finished logging those on the document. Because what I had done, remember, is I had bound those. I'd printed them out and had them spiral bound so that I could just flip through them. Still the best idea I think I've had, outside of maybe, the actual writing of the book. No, I mean, it's just fabulous. I am definitely going to keep doing that. It's definitely worth the expense of like paper and ink and then dropping it off at the UPS store to be bound for less than $5. Yeah, no, definitely worth it. Speaking of which, I need to do that with book 2 now, so I can get ready to content edit that. But because I was editing the physical copy and making all those notes, I was not typing them into the document. I was not making those changes in the Word document. So I had to do those. That took 2 days. It took probably, less than a week to do the content edits and of like physical days, and 2 days to log them. So that's really not, that's not a bad schedule to have. Would that be the same here at home? I don't know, because again, it's a little different, but I know what I'm capable of now, and I think that's a really cool knowledge and experience to have. It's like, yeah, no, I can do this. Before it's like, oh gosh, I don't know what this is going to be like, and now I'm like, okay, now I know. So yeah, happy about that. So yeah, the content edits are in. I still need to do some, some basic, some formatting and stuff like that. And then it'll be ready to go out to some beta readers. So, whew, and that's the next step for Fool's Paradise. Magic Beans, book 2, still needs content editing, etc. And I think I'm going to, I think the plan right now is that I'm actually going to map out, do some basic, outlining or mapping for book 3, which I do not have a working title or an actual title for yet. But book 3, I want to go ahead and kind of plot a little bit and give myself just a little bit more breathing room from finishing book 2's first draft, which, really was not that long ago. Like week and a half maybe. And because they say let it rest for a little bit, but I am looking for that rapid release of October, November, December for the 3 books, so I can't let it rest too long, and I don't really want to. I'm happy with book 2. In the moment I was happy with it. I wasn't like constantly second guessing myself. So let's hope that that my instincts are right. Anyway, the other things I've done, The other thing I did while I was out there was I was knitting, and yes, I showed as best I could. Again, it was with just the cell phone and no stand and stuff. It was tougher. But I finished. Whoops. I finished knitting and even wove in the ends of the Breathe and Hope shawl. Ta-da! And yes, it's very pretty. It's very pink. I'm okay with that, clearly, since I own the yarn to begin with. And I'm happy with the way it's turned out. I do still need to block it. I am not a big fan of blocking, but for shawls, especially for lace, this isn't lace, but it does need blocking. That's not something I could have done in Arizona. Oh, I'm sure it would have dried lickety-split, but having the space. In fact, my blocking space is the guest room upstairs, the guest bed upstairs, and it's got stuff all over it from before I left, you know, packing stuff, and no, I have not unpacked yet either. I've also, so anyway, I finished this project just before it was time for me to leave for the airport on Wednesday morning. So I cast on the next project, which was also a Casapinka project. It's called Magical Thinking, and I am gonna go grab that. I'm not saying that I fly by the seat of my pants for these videos, but I fly by the seat of my pants for these videos. It is what it is. This is me, unfiltered. So anyway, this is the Magical Thinking. It's called a poncho shawl, or pullover shawl. So it's, rather than being a long strip, it has a cowl neck and then more of like, you know, so it's like you don't have to worry about arranging it. And I didn't get super far on the plane, mostly because my seatmate needed to get up, and so I stood up to let her get out of our aisle or our row, and when I sat back down and went to pick back up my knitting, I realized I dropped some stitches very early on and it was impossible to get them back, so I had to rip it out and restart in the air. Lovely. But Friday night, you know, our usual date night TV time for Todd and I went ahead and I kept on with it, and so this is as far as I've gotten. I am getting close to the end of the cowl portion. Let's see in the photo, that's this section right here. Yep, and so it's in, I guess, 2 shades of gray. I like a gray speckle. I mean, I'd call this gray. This isn't really white. It's like a gray speckly and a more like medium gray, and then a dark charcoal, almost black. Again, if you follow me on Instagram or the Facebook page for the Scraps of Life blog, then you will have seen that photo that I shared of the 2 projects before I got on the plane on Wednesday. I don't know what day it is. Actually, I do. It's Sunday because I'm doing this video, but that's the only reason why I know it's Sunday. You know, I flew all day Wednesday, and it wasn't until 6 o'clock on Thursday that I realized it was Thursday, because I had no clue what day it was. Yeah, it's just kind of the way it is. My brain is jet-lagged. I think this is the first time I've ever been so scrambled. But again, I think it has more to do with the fact that I'm not like going into an office every day. Speaking of which, excuse me, so I didn't take my planner with me when I went out of town. I photocopied some pages, the pages that I thought I would need, and I used them at the beginning of the trip, but then I just kind of, you know, ignored them for the rest. Mostly because I was keeping track of my word counts and my editing times and stuff else, you know, on little cards. Oh my gosh. Excuse me. Yeah, I don't know. I just didn't feel the need to use my planner. And On the one hand, it was because I had very simple goals. I didn't need to write them down. On the other hand, I've gotten out of the habit of using my planner now after 2 weeks. And, you know, that whole 21 days to create a habit, I think it's been debunked. I need to look that up again because I think that that was like a snippet taken out of context that people just like seized and ran with. And it sounds good, so I get it. But we all know that once you break a habit or get out of a habit, a good habit, sometimes it's harder to get back into it. But at the same time, you know, my planner was set up for work and home. And now it's very different. So, I mean, you know, here we are in September. We've got 4 months left of the year. But I do need to kind of think about what next year is going to look like. Knock on wood. I'm still going to be doing this. I'm still going to have the luxury of being able to write, and hopefully that will start, you know, bringing in income once I get these books released, and you know, I'll be able to continue to write and create art and so forth. And if that's the case, then I don't need this big multifaceted planner. Something simpler. And so now I'm back to going, well, gosh, what do I need? And isn't that just like the way life goes in general? Is we think we have it figured out. We think, you know, we've got our systems, we've got our structures in place. And then life throws us a curveball. And even when it's an amazing curveball and a curveball that you threw at yourself somehow, and that metaphor gets a little murky. But yeah, it's like, okay. So we adapt, improvise, and overcome. And I will continue to do that. So this week, I will be doing those final spelling, syntax, grammar checking on Fool's Paradise. And I need to start work on the cover too. I have a vague idea of what I want the cover to be, but it's time to go from vague to less vague, to actually having something to show. So yeah, I need to work on the cover, and I also started on the Posh Pumpkins coloring book. Will I get that done this month so that, you know, it makes sense to put it out the end of this month or the beginning of October for the fall season? Oh, we shall see, but I'm gonna try. Yeah, and now that I'm home, of course, I've got stuff to deal with, but I'm energized and encouraged by my productivity when I was away. Not just my productivity, by the way, but the combination of productivity and downtime. I was not constantly working. I worked, and then I had time to spend with my partner, and it was a good mix. It was a good mix. So yeah, I'm encouraged because, okay, this is possible. And so now I just need to translate that from that environment to here and know that it's possible and just make it happen. So I hope you are doing well this week. Thank you for tuning in again and checking in with me. I wish you all the best to come in this next week. Ooh. And I know Monday is a holiday for some. Not everybody, but it doesn't really matter for me when I'm, you know, self-employed these days. But if you have Monday off, then I hope it is a wonderful, restful time for you. Be safe out there. It's a little scary at times, and take care of yourself physically, emotionally, mentally. Make some time for yourself and find a reason to do something that makes you smile. All right, I will be back in another week with another update. Thank you so much again for checking in with me, and I'll see you then.